Good morning and welcome to the trade setup right here from the capital of India, New Delhi, where I have come here to cover the JP Morgan India Investor Summit. So we are talking to you on the sidelines of the JP Morgan India Investor Summit on the trade setup today, and a bunch of conversations lined up, which I'm sure Virat at some point of time will fill you in with the kind of conversations that we're going to bring to you today. But let's stick to the trade setup for the time being. The global roundup, you'll have to excuse me, I'll have to refer a lot to my notes that I've made out here in person. So US stocks and futures have risen ahead of the US Fed meet, but you would, and the BOJ meet, which is slated to happen a bit later on in the week as well. Keep in mind, it's very interesting as to what the BOJ does simply because their rate of inflation is well and truly above their comfort threshold of 2%. So keep that at the back of your mind. Crude prices stabilized after sliding down most of last week. The problem, if you will, is that the 10-year Treasury yield has risen to 3.51%, the highest level since 2011. Is this an issue for the markets? Time will tell. US markets, as I said, did okay. The futures did okay. The 10-year yield is higher. The dollar index is kind of stable between that 109, 110 mark or thereabouts. So no big changes there. And the SGX Nifty indicates a start which is marginally positive, if that is something that will last. Now, therefore, what's the trade setup in a scenario like this? Well, the undertone maybe upbeat for the day today, but I would reckon it's very difficult to make a case, which is what I said yesterday as well, make a case for a really large, strong, sustained rally ahead of Wednesday. If anything, it's a bit of a punt and not really an informed decision, because most of us, or in fact any of us, don't quite know what the Fed action as well as the commentary is likely to be. So, well, uh, I would suspect that it's very difficult to see a really large rally ahead of that. FI's net long open interest in single stock futures, by the way, has reduced quite considerably. And remember, DIs are anyways net short. So single stock futures, there's quite a bit of short position and a long unwinding that has already happened or is there currently. Amongst the sectors that stood out in trade the last 2 or 3 sessions, look out for real estate. The last 5 sessions, the Nifty Realty is corrected about 6%. And it's very close to levels from which it's bounced back in the past. So if indeed you want to play a bounce, then maybe watch out for the Realty Index and some specific real estate stocks. From a purely a bounce perspective, that sector seems to be the most ripe one. What are the stocks to monitor in the session today? That's the key thing for a session like this. So Crompton Greaves, Butterfly Gandhi Appliances, whichever or both, essentially Butterfly Gandhi, in which Crompton Greaves will sell about 10.7 lakh shares at a price of 1370, a floor price of 1370, which is about a 9% discount. So you would expect this stock to start off with a bit of a gap down, that is Butterfly Gandhi Appliances. This news was out yesterday. The stock had reacted yesterday, but I think it's important to bring out Canfin Homes, wherein MD and CEO, this Girish Kaushgi, has resigned. Now, why? I mean, I just thought, there's a note from brokerages. So Jeffries, for example, says that there is uncertainty around management transition, which is a near-term overhang. The core fundamentals stay healthy, and therefore they maintain or retain a buy. This has happened due to personal reasons. They say an external CEO from the industry may be viewed more favorably versus a CEO deputed from Canara Bank. So all of these factors will be something that investors would be keeping in mind as and when Canfin Homes' near-term trajectory shapes up. Do watch out for this one. A large downward candle yesterday. Maybe there could be some more in the session today. Hudson Agro has approved a rights issue of close to 400 crores. So watch out for this one. Watch out for Adani Ports. There's a note floating around that West Bengal government has accorded development of Tajpur ports to Adani Ports, a contract given for a total of 25,000 crore rupees. Now, remember, there is no official statement from the Adani group with regards to this. Like I said, there is a note that is moved around citing this development happening from the West Bengal government side. So we'll wait for official confirmation, but Adani Ports may react today. So I repeat, this is not official news from the management. All right. This is a note that presumably the West Bengal government has given out. We do not have official confirmation of it. And the reason I'm bringing this to you is that if indeed the stock reacts and there is a large reaction, then why this reaction could be happening. Standard disclaimer, even for this as well as the next set of stocks that I'm talking about, the Adani Group is 49% shareholder in Quintillion Business Media, which owns BQ Prime, the platform that you're watching currently. But like I said, speaking of Adani Group stocks, promoter entity trades, Adani Enterprises. Remember 2 days ago, I brought this out that Spitz Trade and Investment bought some shares on September 14. Now we realize that actually from the period of 14 to 16, they bought about 10.75 lakh shares. And that's not all. The promoter entities also bought shares, 4 lakh shares on September 15 in Adani Green Energy. Adani Enterprises is the interesting one because there's a rebalancing happening and Adani Enterprises will become a part of the Nifty. But Adani Green also, quite interesting what the promoter entity is doing. Speaking of promoter entities buying, Man Infra is the other one. Promoter Parag Shah bought about 30,000 shares on September 16. By the way, if you want to know more about Man Infra, on Friday, we put out a very interesting set of conversations with 3 real estate companies back to back. One of them was Man Infra, wherein they are talking about how they did 1 lakh square feet of sales in the first quarter. They got 4.5 million square feet under development over the course of the next 5 years. You can do the math or you can hear that conversation. It's a 10, 12-minute conversation with 3 real estate companies, mid-sized companies, all of which talk about some 3-4 years. There is Man Infra, there is Ajmera Realty, and there is one more. Excuse me, I'm forgetting the name. But yeah, these are the 3, Arihant Infra. So these are the 3 conversations that you might want to hear out. But yeah, Man Infra is a stock in focus today because the promoter has bought about 30,000 shares, got declared yesterday. Some bulk deals, Advanced Enzyme Technologies, Nalanda India Equity Fund bought about 29 lakh shares, and VMart, wherein Plutus Wealth Management is a seller, but the buyer is Amansa Holdings. Now, typically when Pulak Prasad or Akash Prakash or such marquee investors buy stake in mid-cap names, it comes to the fore, and which is why these stocks have come out in the notice today. MK Alternative Research has put out an interesting observation on India Cements. You know, cement is talk of town. Yesterday, Ambuja was up another 9.5%. India Cements was up about 9% as well, and they put out this note. 9.7%, I stand corrected, with heavy buying in the cash segment, saying that delivery volumes are 250% above average on Monday. Front month futures basis declined about 26 bips to about 12 bips yesterday. But they are saying that the stock now seems highly overbought with RSI at about 88. It's done quite a bit. The whole cement pack has had a really strong re-rating on account of the Adani Wholesale deal. It'll be interesting to see if there is more in store or could there be a bit of a cool off. By the way, as a part of the JP Morgan conversations, we'll be talking to the investment banking team at JPM, and they were the advisors to Wholesale. So we'll try and get an understanding from them about what do they feel about the M&A activity within the cement space. So that's a very interesting conversation. We'll be talking to Madhav Kalyan today, Kaustubh Kulkarni as well, both of whom were involved in this transaction very closely from the JPM side. So it'll be interesting to see what they have to say about it. Like I said, just before we wrap up, some brokerage notes. I already spoke to you about Canfin Homes. There is a note from Morgan Stanley on banks, which says brace for the second leg of the re-rating cycle, and they prefer large banks like ICICI Bank, Axis, BOB, and SBI. So both private and PSUs. So pretty interesting as to the views that people have on the banking space as well. Net, a decent start. The Adani Group stocks remain in focus. A bunch of others remain in focus as we highlighted. I personally don't think that a very large rally in the indices in the offing until the Fed meet is out of the way. But hey, who knows? It's very difficult to call the index, and I'm certainly not sticking out my neck and trying to predict what the index would do. It's a mug's game. But a lot of very interesting stocks and variables in the session today. So do watch out for all of those. And I repeat, do watch out for a bunch of very interesting conversation pieces that will come in out of the JP Morgan India Investor Summit in Delhi out here. I'll be bringing you to them throughout the day today and tomorrow on BQ Prime. So you may want to tune in for that. Thanks so much for tuning in to this trade setup today.